boy. Come on. Come on. Oh. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is really more of a Q&A to kind of update you guys on my life, my job, baby Porter, COVID, anything that you guys wanted covered. That's what we're going to cover today. If you follow me on Instagram, you had the opportunity to ask me any question you wanted to. Again, I'm going to be answering those questions throughout this video today, so stay tuned. So right off the bat, the first question here comes from Claire M. Mata. She asks, is your job affected by COVID-19 even though you're not on the front line? So yes, it is. To give you just a little bit of a backstory here, my initial plan was to take 2 weeks off for some paternity leave and healthcare. Unfortunately, we don't really get a prolonged amount of time to be home with kids. It's just the nature of our profession, but the plan was to take 2 weeks. This was kind of before this COVID pandemic really hit my area. Long story short, I've taken the whole month of April off to be at home and to be away from patients for now. We'll see what the plan is going forward, but for right now, I'm at home. I will say that before I started my paternity leave, we had patients dropping off our schedule every single day. Clinic is slow. At this point, we are no longer scheduling any new patients unless it's an urgent patient encounter. So since I'm in orthopedics, say an individual comes in with a broken arm, of course we're gonna see them, we're gonna treat that. But people who have more so had hand or shoulder pain or back pain for months to years, those people we're telling to hold off for now. Hopefully in the next month or two, we'll be able to start scheduling those patients again. So clinic has been a lot slower. All elective surgeries we've postponed for the time being. So yeah, it's a very different world right now. With COVID, everyone is adjusting differently in their own clinics and hospitals, but it's definitely a lot has changed in my clinic. Magpie24 asks, as a high school senior, what can I do right now to prepare for a career as a PA? So right now in high school, the best thing that you can be doing is getting some shadowing hours, shadow PAs in a few different specialties. It's gonna be hard with all the events that are going on right now. I doubt many people are gonna let you shadow, but hopefully this blows past us in the next few months and people can kind of get back to a sense of normalcy. But shadow PAs in a few different professions: ortho, family medicine, emergency medicine, surgery if you can, derm. Try to get your hands in as many different disciplines as possible to see what it is you truly like. Secondly, start thinking about your patient care experience and how it is you're gonna get that, because for PA school, a lot of programs are recommending a few thousand hours. Some don't have a minimum requirement, but there are some schools that do, and you're gonna be more competitive if you have those hours. So be thinking about whether you wanna become a CNA or an EMT or a medical assistant or a patient care tech in the ER, for example. Any of those are great ways to get patient care experience. They all take a little bit of schooling. I have videos about patient care experience specifically that I'll link below in the description, but be thinking about those and then kind of get an idea of where it is you're gonna wanna go to PA school. I know it's very early on at this time, but the more schools that you're familiar with, the better you'll be able to appreciate what those prerequisite courses are, and the sooner you'll be able to take them while you're in your undergrad. You're not gonna be saving them for the last 2 years of undergrad and trying to cram all these classes together. So definitely be familiar with the prereqs that are required for PA school and be talking with your academic advisor about getting those courses into your undergraduate curriculum, if you will. Allison Kelling asks, how's life as a PA during a pandemic? Also, congrats on your baby boy. Thank you, Allison. Again, life as a PA during this pandemic so far has been pretty uneventful. I mean, I'm just at home, which is awesome. It's a huge blessing that I'm able to be at home with Chelsea and take care of Porter with her. I don't know what she would have done had I just taken those 2 weeks. That would have been really hard for her, but it's been great. I mean, every day feels like Saturday. Half the time we don't even know what day of the week it is. He's nursing about every 2 to 3 hours. So it's a busy schedule, but he's for the most part content, for the most part sleeping through the night, except for when he wakes up to nurse. There are times where he won't go back to sleep, but that's to be expected. I mean, he's a newborn. He's not gonna be a perfect angel all the time, but we have our good nights and we have our bad nights. We have our Netflix shows that we're watching: Tiger King, Ozark, we finished Schitt's Creek. Those are to just name a few. Taking walks, taking naps, whatever makes the day go by. It's just us three in the house. And of course, Ollie, But just hanging out as a family, that's about it. Linda Pinoet says, I hear there's an optional essay about COVID-19's influence on your application in CASPA. So I was unaware of this until I just read that question. After a quick Google search, it does look like CASPA is offering an optional essay to just explain how COVID-19 has impacted your schooling, your patient care experience, anything that would maybe negatively reflect your application. This is optional, it sounds like. I would highly recommend you go forward and write something about it. Obviously, no one is in school right now. Everyone is learning remotely, so if in any way this has impacted your grades, obviously if you're getting patient care experience and all you can, I would write about that, write about how has it impacted you. I don't think it's gonna necessarily hurt you in the application to explain those things and explain how it might have negatively affected your hours, your patient care experience, like I said. So definitely be as transparent as possible and just use that to your advantage. It's Kristen asks, how is it like working with COVID-19 right now? Again, I'm at home, but in those weeks leading up to right before I left work, it was an eerie feeling in the clinic. We weren't busy. A lot of providers were just kind of standing around in between patients, because usually in ortho it's one patient after another and you're pretty busy, but I like to greet my patients with a handshake and a smile, and it just kind of feels like a cold encounter whenever you walk into a new patient. You don't shake their hand. Everything is different, and it's honestly a little scary because also in ortho, a lot of your assessment is based off of your physical exam. So you're constantly examining the patient, touching their shoulder, their neck, their hand, their wrist, whatever that may be. So it's a lot of contact, a lot of exposure. So it's constantly sanitizing my hands. So super paranoid about becoming sick. If you can put yourself in my shoes at this time, Chelsea hadn't delivered yet. So there was always the fear in the back of my mind that if I were to be diagnosed with coronavirus, I'm quarantined for 2 weeks, and this was right around Chelsea's due date. So that means I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not being able to witness the delivery, not being able to witness those first few weeks following the delivery to be with Chelsea. So it was a stressful time. I'm so fortunate and lucky that I've been healthy this whole time. Hopefully that continues. But it was definitely a huge fear in the back of my mind. So every day going to work, you basically had to prepare for what could be. So it was constantly sanitizing everything and not touching my face and putting hand sanitizer in the car to use it anytime I left the facility. So I'm just glad I'm past that point. It's Kristen also asks, describe your typical day work schedule. So Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., sometimes 6, depending on if clinic runs long. Generally, I'm in clinic 3 days a week, and I'm in surgery twice a week. Days in surgery are really fun. I really enjoy it, but it's nice to have a mix of both surgery and clinic. And clinic, again, it's 8 to 5. I see general ortho, so shoulders, wrists, elbows, ankles, whatever hurts, I'm able to see it, diagnose it, prescribe medication, therapy, injections, whatever that may be. So I really enjoy my job. It's been a lot of fun so far. I'm still learning every single day, but it's been awesome. Lucy Lou asks, what are some things you guys enjoyed during quarantine? I kind of addressed this earlier, but again, binging shows on Netflix. I downloaded TikTok first, and I started scrolling through it, watching videos, and found out that it is super addicting. I probably spend way too much time on it now, just watching videos one after another, because all you gotta do is scroll down and you go to the next video. And now Chelsea's downloaded it, so in the evenings we just find ourselves on TikTok laughing at videos and sending them back and forth to one another. Aside from that and Netflix, taking walks when it's nice out with Porter and Ollie, that's been fun. Getting up, having time to make a good breakfast, French toast, whatever breakfast that tastes a little bit better than just our daily things like oatmeal and yogurt parfaits that we generally have before work. We have more time to be able to just drink our coffee, sit down with the baby if he's not fussy, and just take things a little bit slower. That's one thing that's been nice about this, is that everything has seemed to slow itself down, and we have time for, even though we have a baby, we still have time for more things throughout the day, whereas when we were going to work every day, it was the hustle and grind of getting up in the morning, hurrying up, getting dressed, ready, leaving for work, and then coming home, making dinner, doing it all over again the next day. It has overall just been really nice to be together as a family without many distractions. We're allowing our family to see Porter, but it's at a distance. So initially we're having everyone come over and look at him through the window. When it's been nice outside, we've stayed 6 to 10 feet apart from one another. So yeah, just hanging out and loving life for the most part. Do1G asks, what were your resources for your house design? It looks so good. Thanks, man. Our resources were really just Chelsea's creativity, and we had an interior designer that kind of helped with the kitchen cabinets and putting that together. But for the most part, it was Chelsea picking out which countertops she liked and hardwood floor and cabinet color and design and sink and all of that stuff. She was the one that made it all work, and myself, with the help of a lot of family, well, we basically built it all, put it all together, and made it presentable, essentially. So a lot of it was Chelsea, though. She's very good at interior design. Marsh Kaylee asks, are you working during quarantine, or is your clinic closed? Again, not working right now. Clinic is not closed. We're just seeing a reduced patient load. Quick intermission. Little poor man got hungry. A little poor man is hungry. He will eat, and he will let you know. All right, we're back. Steve Rucky asks, why did you choose to name your baby Porter? Was there any story behind that? So we came up with this name back whenever we were living in Lexington, around a year ago at this time, I guess, maybe a little over a year. And we cannot remember how we came up with the name Porter, if it was Chelsea that came up with it, if it was me. She thinks it's me. I kind of think it's me. I really don't remember. I don't even know how we came up with the name. So much time passed. I really have no idea. It just stuck with us. We went back and forth on a few names. We never had a name for a girl. Porter was always a name that we liked for a boy, and somehow the the initial reason for why we named him Porter, it got lost over the last year or so. So not really sure how we came up with the name. Plates with Paige, work-life balance as a PA with a newborn. Haven't been back to work yet, but once I get back to work, I'll let you know how it goes. It's probably gonna be hard because right now we're on a schedule to where Chelsea will nurse him 2 times throughout the night, and then I'll get up around 5 or 6 a.m. and feed him a bottle, and then I'll just hang out on the couch till 8 or 9 so Chelsea can get some extra sleep. So obviously that's gonna change when I go back to work. It'll be interesting. Brianna Wilson asks, how will your schedule change now that you've had Porter? Is it flexible? For me, since I'm outpatient ortho, it's always been flexible. I'm always home around 5:30, 6 p.m. in the evenings. As far as surgery goes right now, all of our cases have been postponed, so we'll see about that. But we're gonna get pretty busy here if we can end this lockdown, if restrictions, these things can be slowly lifted as we get back to this sense of normalcy. It's gonna get super busy, but it is nice that I don't work weekends. I'm not on call, so that definitely helps with having a newborn. Brianna Wilson also asks, how do you balance work life and home life, and is it stressful being a PA and parents at the same time? So again, I feel like I haven't really dove into being able to balance work and home life now that we have a newborn. But as far as how I balance it now, or previously when it was just the 3 of us, Ollie, it wasn't too bad because, like I said, outpatient ortho clinic 8 to 5 p.m. I have my evenings free, I have my weekends free, I'm not on call. It's a pretty nice schedule that I have. So on weekends we like to have fun, we like to hang out, do stuff outside. In the evenings we like to hang out, watch TV, make dinner. So far it's been pretty easy, but like I just mentioned on the previous question, I'll let you guys know how I adjust to my new life as a dad when I go back to finally working and having a full schedule. It'll definitely be different. Experiencing Emily asks a really good question. What's your favorite thing about being new parents? I think it's honestly just being able to hold this little human being that you helped create. It's this surreal feeling that he was in Chelsea's womb for a whole 9 months, and then now he is just in our arms. He's so small, and everything is just formed so perfectly. It's such a blessing. It's just such a testament to God that He's created the way that He was. Everything, every little detail, it's amazing. The little ears to his nose, to his 10 toes and 10 fingers. It's all amazing, and the best part is just holding him and looking into his deep blue eyes and little hair that he has. It's just an incredible feeling to look down at another little human being and think that you actually created that and brought that onto this earth. So it's overall just a surreal feeling. Hurtling60, my own mother, asks, did it take you by surprise how much love you can feel for your son? Honestly, yeah, it did. We have Ollie, of course, and we love Ollie more than anything in the world. And it's weird having a dog and then having a kid, because you think you love something until you have a new baby, and then it's like, well, although we don't love Ollie any less, we definitely do love Porter. and it's a different kind of love. So it's definitely kind of taking me by surprise. And then she also asks, is it easier or harder than you thought that it would be? I feel like it's about what I expected. I think it's a little different for me because I'm not the one having to wake up and nurse him throughout the night. If I was the one waking up every 3 hours, I would definitely say it probably feels harder, but it's more so me waking up early to get him started with the first feeding of the day with the bottle, and then it's kind of teamwork throughout the day, but I feel like Chelsea gets the brunt of the work and that she has to wake up throughout the night. Devin Guyton, 13, asks, have you had to float to other departments since the pandemic? Again, no. I work in a privately owned clinic. We're not associated with a hospital, so if I were to be on an inpatient service, inpatient ortho, there is the chance that, I don't know if it's happening right now, but those hospitals where they see a huge influx of COVID patients, people are having to step outside of their normal job responsibilities and go above and beyond. So luckily for us, we haven't had to do that. We haven't been called upon, but who knows, if our area sees a surge in cases, that may happen. Pedro Sanchez, tips for PA school online. That's a tough one because everyone is in the same boat. It's very hard to go from learning very hands-on in class, getting lectures, being lectured to by faculty that is physically standing in front of you, to now doing everything online. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of, I guess, just time management being able to do that. But as best you can, just stay on top of your notes, study a little bit every single day. Just know that your whole cohort, you're all going through this experience together. You're all in the same boat. Like I said, try your best to get through it. It's temporary. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It will get better. Just hang in there. Chantal asks, how are you guys adjusting to baby Porter, and what's the best thing about being a dad so far? So we are adjusting. Our sleep schedules are off. We're getting less sleep, but I feel like we catch up on sleep during the day when we can. Like I said earlier, Chelsea, I try to get her to sleep a little bit more in the morning so that she can catch up on sleep that she's missed throughout the night. But going on more walks with him, getting him somewhat used to being outside when it's warm, which I think he really enjoys being outside. But honestly, just spending a lot of family time together since we're all kind of isolated in this same house with one another. And then the best thing about being a dad is just, again, like I said, just being able to hold a little physical human being that you helped create. It's just a surreal feeling. There's no other better way I can describe it, but being able to look into his eyes, and then even when he smiles, and he can't smile yet at this age consciously, but when he does make a smile, it's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome thing to see. CA Burgess 5 asks, when's the next time you plan to smoke some meat? I got 2 pork butts in the freezer right now. As soon as we get a nice day, I'll probably thaw one and throw it on the smoker because I'm missing some pulled pork right now. Hayden Stevenson asks, what is the worst thing about being a PA, and what is the process like getting a job as a PA? I think the worst thing about being a PA is that, it's a blessing and a curse. We're trained for 2.5 years. It's a very thorough and rigorous program that we're put through to be put on, be able to go out into the medical community and start practicing medicine after just 12 months of rotations. And while you learn a lot on rotations, there is more learning that needs to be done hands-on whenever you start your job. There's just not enough time to learn everything that you need to learn, and orthopedics is a perfect example of that. So honestly, what kind of stinks is that when you start your job, you don't feel very confident yet. At least I didn't, being an ortho. It's a lot of learning at home still, studying on weekends, in the evenings, whenever I would come home from work. I don't necessarily do this as much anymore, but those first 4 or 5 months when I was in clinic, maybe like first 3 months, I would be constantly reading, trying to educate myself. So that's kind of a downfall. It takes a little bit of time of getting used to. You have to kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable. Again, I'm still not the best at reading MRIs and interpreting different x-rays and CT scans. I'm getting better. The reports are always nice to go off of, but I just want to be able to be super confident and proficient, and hopefully there's a time whenever I don't necessarily have to rely on the report as much, and I can just confidently diagnose conditions on imaging. And that's always been the hardest part, and that's probably because we received that at the very least in school, because we had so much other stuff to learn. So that's kind of a downfall of being a PA, I guess. Other than that, it's an awesome profession and I love every other aspect of it. Second part of that question, what was the process like? So my situation is unique in that my brother obviously works at the clinic. If you know anything about me and this channel and my Instagram, I work in the same orthopedic clinic as my brother, so I knew the providers before I got my job. So I would say kind of living vicariously through my friends when they were applying for jobs. It was a lot of them just throwing their resume out there to any job that they found somewhat interesting. They applied to many different positions in the surrounding states around Kentucky, kind of in the South. Two of them ended up in South Carolina, one in North Carolina, one is in Kentucky, and one is kind of in Northern Kentucky / Ohio. So basically the best thing you can do when you're a brand new graduate, if you don't know, if you don't have those personal connections to a hospital or a clinic or to providers, then the best thing you can do is just not be picky. Put your resume out there on Career Builder, Indeed. Don't be picky. Find a job that's gonna help you get your foot in the door. If you have to take a job in a specialty that may not be your first pick, but maybe your second or third, spend a few years there, get some experience under your belt, and then potentially move on to what you want to do. I'm not saying you can't get a job in your #1 specialty. You absolutely can. Just bear in mind that it may take you a little bit more time to find that job. Demonte1012 asks, how did you learn to renovate your home? It was a lot of self-learning on YouTube, a lot of trial and error. I have people in my family that are very handy. An uncle of mine works in construction, so he has a vast array of knowledge. I always went to him with any questions I had. He probably got annoyed some weeks with all the questions I had, but he was an invaluable resource. My brother renovated his home. He also has rental property, so he does a lot of work on the side with those rental properties and renovations. So I had a lot of good resources there. And then again, just being on YouTube, learning about how to do plumbing and electrical work and how to do it safely. But other than that, I like being hands-on, so I enjoyed it. It wasn't a chore for me. I really looked forward coming over to this house every day and getting to work, knowing that eventually we would have a family in this house and we would all be here together. So that was my motivation, that was my end goal. I knew that there was a day where this would all end. Unfortunately, when you own a house, there's always something that needs to be worked on. We currently haven't done our landscaping yet, so that needs to be done. We need to do some stuff to our backyard to get that fixed up, and then of course our basement is still unfinished, so that's another project that still needs to be done, but it'll get done. It just takes time, it takes money, so we'll get there. All right, so that wraps up this video. You guys had some awesome questions. If I didn't specifically address your question, it's because it was likely a duplicate and there was some overlap, but I tried to get to everyone's questions. Hopefully that gave you some insight into our lives, into baby Porter, into my job, and how we're adjusting with COVID and everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Drop a comment below if you have any additional questions. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day and stay safe.